stars and the star fields and how that contributes to your unique pattern. But let me show you today's card.
All
If
right,
you
let's
had
hope
my
today's.
decks, if you had the deck for Cancer, which I'll just show you, that's the
All right,
that's
drum
the
roll. Drum roll for Cancer.
here is the card for today, and you can even read it, Tyson.
It says extraordinary, which is the word we use here, Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy, and talent emerges from today's torrent of confidence. Wow, torrent of
Right.
confidence. Not a little bit of confidence, a torrent.
So this is a powerful energy for today, which is all about just really recognizing. So that's why I said acclaim, like, like honor yourself, honor your gifts, and don't be afraid to tell everybody, like Marianne Williamson says, like, don't be afraid to tell the world how wonderful you are. Like, we all tend to negate our talents and our abilities, and we have to stop doing that.
Stand in your truth. Take back your personal power. Sounds like a theme we use, right, Laura?
No
I,
kidding.
I was just going to say,
So, guys, for this week, you'll all be happy to know the basic theme that's running through for the next 5 to 7 days is what I call a curious restlessness. How does
mm,
that sound?
Yeah. Okay.
okay.
Sounds spasmodic.
Well, hopefully, what it does is it will get people off their fannies and
Yeah.
get themselves out into the world in a way that says, "What's going on? What can I do about this?" But even more so, underneath all of this curiousness, is a sense of what's working, but mostly what isn't working, and that
Mhm.
is a huge, huge statement I want to make for today, guys, because the planet Mars is coming to the very end of its transit. It's been in a transit. Mars has a 2 year cycle. Everybody probably knows the moon is about a 29-day cycle from new moon to new moon. As we know, the Earth goes around in 365 days, or 366 because of this year being leap year. But Mars has a 2 year cycle. And every 2 years, Mars comes home. Mars comes back to the same position that it was in basically 2 years ago. So, what's happening today, especially today and tomorrow, is there's this feeling of things are ending. You just either can't go on anymore the way you're living your life, or you start to see things falling apart because that just means, oh, good, elimination time. And I just want to tell people not to struggle with this because this is a natural sociological effect of the cosmology we're in. Like, let things go. And that is so karmic.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that sounds like karma to me.
Doesn't
Yeah,
that sound like us? Let it go, let it go, let it
There you
go.
go.
let it go, my darlings, let it go because it's going to be obvious. I want everyone to look at something that's happening in their life today that shows you without a doubt that something has to go. In fact, a lot of stuff is going to leave you today. And I don't want to scare people, but just be on the lookout for this. Stuff's going to break, stuff's going to fall apart, stuff's
Oh,
going to stop working. And you're going to have to say to yourself, what the is going on here?
oh, I don't like
Well,
this
I
one.
don't know if I want that whole full deal, meal. But anyway, yeah. I guess
Well,
there's no
yeah,
choice.
well, I just have to tell you, I don't pussyfoot around. I mean, life isn't just all a bowl of cherries here. Like, there's stuff people have got to do, and there's stuff that people have to face. And there are,
Listen, Kory, we live in America. We're supposed to have a happy ending for everything. All of our movies have happy endings. Come
no,
on.
not the movies I watch. Maybe I watch too many documentaries, but anyways, I think
Oh,
it's really
yeah.
important that people have to face their issues. And, it's one thing to be guided by your inspiration. And my business is called Astral Inspiration. But we can't get to the inspiration until we look at what's really holding us back. And that's part of karma. Karma is absolutely recognizing because what does karma mean, Tyson? What's your definition of karma?
That means everything your mama and your priest didn't tell you about life. I
Yeah,
mean,
and what else?
it's really the opportunity to understand that you get to do it once more until you get it right. So let's get it right this time around. So what's up? what
And
needs to be dealt with.
what you said is the key. Karma is, from my understanding, the actions we take.
Right, absolutely. Or the actions we didn't take because we didn't want to deal with it.
Exactly. And so my point is today, it's kind of like a summation of like looking at the actions you've taken, maybe the stuff you haven't taken. For most of us is probably the stuff we haven't taken that's slowing our paths.
Right.
We are in this overall period, as we've been talking about claiming your gifts, and you can't claim your gifts until you recognize maybe what your fear is around claiming those gifts.
All right. So here's a question for you. I mean, you're telling us what is happening astrologically or planetary wise or star wise, however we get the words right, the interdimensional influences on us. It's time to clean up our karma or to deal with the dark night of the soul or the shadow part of our being over the next 2 days. So from your experience in working with clients, what does that mean? What sort of things should what sort of things could people do that would be take advantage of this energy to the fullest extent during these 2 days? Any suggestions?
Right. Well, what I would suggest in the next 5 to 7 days, because of this important transition of the planet Mars, is for people to actually sit down and get themselves a plan of action. You know, so many people are starting to do this. They go to bed, before they go to bed, they have their list of intentions for the night, what they want to dream about, what they want to problem solve about. When you get up in the morning, you have your intentions. And so I'm encouraging people, because it's the time to do this. We've just had a lunar eclipse. We've had a solar eclipse on Sunday. We're going to have another eclipse on July the 5th. This is a time for action. This is a time to literally get the gears going. And so get your list of what you want to accomplish. We are in such a powerful transition time. Mars is about to go into Aries. When the planet Mars goes into Aries, stuff gets done. And not only is Mars going into Aries, but it's squaring the eclipse activation point. So when the eclipse hit on Sunday, it hit at the beginning of the summer solstice, which is the beginning of the sign of Cancer. And when Mars goes into Aries, it forms what we call a square, a quadrature aspect, which is an aspect of energy. So people will probably find this is a great week to get stuff going.
Yeah, I found on this weekend I had to do the most intense clearing at the deepest level that I've ever been asked to work at with clients, which had to do with, I guess, the most intense lockdown on planet Earth that can happen to people. So it was a really intense weekend for me. It was like, it was literally uh, standing on the edge of a cliff of life and death with a client and helping them make
Wow.
the decision about whether they can stay here. And all the forces of lockdown, let's call it lockdown,
Yes.
was saying jump,
Yeah,
jump.
absolutely. And that's what I'm telling people too, because when Mars goes through Pisces, it sounds so corny, but it's true. Pisces is considered the last sign of the zodiac. It's the sign that we associate with suffering and karma. This is karma. This is karma time when anything goes through Pisces. And when Mars does this, and it's been doing this since basically the beginning of May, we go almost through a planetary shift in karma and consciousness. And so a lot of the stuff, we suffer at the hands of our own folly, of our own ignorance. And now is the time, like I say, curious restlessness. Start asking questions. Start asking, how can I do this better? And even before we get to that question, like, what do I want in my life? What do I need to change in my life? And that will get people moving, because, as I say, it's just an incredible time for growth.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
let's just bring it up just before you go. Let's talk about that. This is happening at every level, right? So this is happening at the societal level, and it's
Yes.
happening at the global level and
Yes.
planetary level as well, right?
But what I do,
Right.
and what you folks do, is we all work on the personal level, because
Yeah,
the global level will heal itself as more and more people wake up. And that's our job as teachers and healers, right? That's our job. Is
Mhm.
we basically, all we can do is show people the path. We can't change, really, we can't
right.
change anyone else. We can just open some doors and see if people will walk through them. And It's a great time for door opening. I
Maybe we need to put on a big coffee pot and tell everybody to wake up, right? Time to smell the coffee.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
Well, I love what you have to say. It sounds a bit daunting, but it sounds really exciting too, because what was is about to be let go of, right? And if people understand what karma is about, and that shedding karma is like a snake shedding a skin because it doesn't fit anymore, then it's maybe not so scary. It's maybe a unique opportunity for um, a personal and planetary upgrade, right?
Right. And as I say with my card for today, it's about honoring your talents and your abilities. Today has a lot to do with, again, take 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 pride in what you do. Take pride, acclaim yourself. Um, don't be afraid to find something within you, even when, like they say, a broken clock is correct twice a day. Like, don't be afraid to acknowledge that there are some really great things about your life. And we all have, we're all a work in progress. We're all artists on this journey.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah,
one of us is an artist, and an artist by definition is never satisfied with their work. Never.
it's always
Gotta
input.
literally, you have to pull them away from their books and their paintings and their musical scores, because they always want to make it better, right?
Yeah, we have to pronounce it done.
Yeah. And so
So
today,
there's a 22. So it looks like it's also a master number day as well. It says 22 on your card.
well, that's the day today, right?
Yeah, so that's the power.
Today
It's
is
the
June
power
20th.
of a master number 22.
Yeah,
So whatever the power of two is, it's like, whoa, double, triple,
yeah.
quadruple. So
And I wanted to do a quick shout out to George Carlin. George Carlin died exactly 12 years ago today on June
yeah,
20th.
I was just saw his stuff on somebody's Facebook. I loved George Carlin. Thank you, George, for all of the wisdom you brought through humor, and the depth of understanding, compassion you had for
Yeah,
us humans in
yeah,
the struggle to become awake. And you
Mhm.
made us all laugh and
yeah,
made us see how absurd we are. And
yeah.
thank you, George, for being George. You did a grand job. I'm glad you graduated with honors.
You did. Yeah, and George always said, like, no matter what happened and how people viewed him, they'd be talking about him because he
Forever.
did make a huge contribution to the world. And so today, because it is the 22nd, it's a power number, it's a master number, but it's also a number of, I love it because it's Earth Day, right? April 22nd, Earth Day. The 22 is a powerful vibration. So I really want to encourage people to boogie down with their ability and their talents and their karma, and maybe take a little tip from George. George had a wonderful way of looking at life and all of its difficulty, and he just said, like, it's a show, it's a journey, and you are the artist of your life, and enjoy it.
Right. Well, thank you so much. And I guess we came to see you next Monday. You're a busy girl. So,
I know,
but we've got you booked in for every Monday. Is that correct? And we got a
that's
deal here.
right. I'd love to be here for every Monday that I can.
All right. That's good. Sounds good enough to me. So thank you for
Thank
introducing
you,
the
guys.
topic of karma and giving these powerful energies that are about to bring us into the truth of who we be. So thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, bye, Laura.
Bye, Kory. Thank
Bye.
you. Have a good week.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, there you are, folks. Pretty exciting time. But
Mhm.
Laura, you've been helping people through their karma this weekend too, right?
Lord have mercy, have I? Yes,
Yeah.
it was an interesting weekend for sure. Very,
Yeah.
very, we went out for a little while on Saturday, drove around, and then came home because there was so much anger in the air and discontent. And for me, it was just super overwhelming. So just came home and then within like, I would say a half hour, I was back to like, I could
Wow.
back in my own space. So it was good. It was good to stay home.
Well, I was at home, but I think I maybe spent, I don't know, my sweetie's beside me here and she doesn't want me to exaggerate, but a good 4+ hours with one client, right? Helping them on the edge of the precipice, under full psychic cyber attack, helping them stay here on planet Earth. And it looked like for a while there, we had to, her husband luckily was available, and we literally had to take her through each breath, right? Breathe,
Oh,
breathe,
yeah.
breathe, breathe.
Well, thank
So
God for you, Tyson.
that was a real eye opener for me. Interesting enough, I knew this time would come from the moment that I met her. I knew that there would come a time, and here it was at this critical juncture on this planet, that the time needed to happen, the work needed to happen. But it was interesting to know that it was life and death. And I did call on you. So I did, on the call, we created what, on the mastermind, a spiritual Dropbox. Okay. So the idea of the spiritual Dropbox is anything that you have that's a gift, that's valuable, like the deep clearing protocol, you put it in the Dropbox, the energy of it. So anybody that needs it at any moment can go to the spiritual Dropbox and download it and use it. So
Mhm.
I didn't have you in the spiritual Dropbox, but I put you there anyway to be able to work with the energy of hooking into you, because you're gifted in this area. And I didn't want to phone you because I knew you were super busy, but I did pull on that relationship with you in order to help do this clearing. So
Good.
just so people know, this is really part of the events what we're doing as group action, both for the Oneness Network of Light and also in the Dowsing and Energy Healing Master Group. We have created a network of like-minded people that can help pull people through the knot hole. Let's call it the knot hole that you can't get through. You just seem to be all bunged up, can't get through the other side. We then use a collective action to then bring you through and to the other side, so that you can get on to do the cleanup on the personal level that you so want to do. Sometimes it takes a group action. So we brought that group together to help you. So if you're struggling out there and you need some help, don't forget, you can phone even now. And there's two of us, so we're two more gathered. There am I, the third one, the JC. So it's 1-866-369-7464. And today's topic is karma. What your mommy and daddy didn't tell you about karma, and certainly not your priest. And no disrespect, some priests actually do understand this, right? Some of them actually get into trouble when they talk about this. But yeah, so what's your experience with karma, Laura? What does that mean to you?
My experience with it has been releasing it and allowing it to. It's where the deep healing comes from, for me anyway. For my past lives, I've had at least 4 that I can think of off the top of my head, that things that from my past that were stopping me from moving forward, that needed to be resolved. And when I work with other people and they pick it up, then you go through it, and like one of them was I lost a child, and that came up really very slowly. The karma of that came up slowly. So the first time I was told about it, it was just a very small bit, and all the way into the time where I could release it and let it all go. And of course it's a story, but for whatever reason it stops us from moving forward in lifetime after lifetime if it's not resolved, right?
Yeah, that's my understanding. And my understanding is when I do a clearing of matriarchal, patriarchal lineages, I think there's 3 levels of karma that are in the lineage, and actually it can even come through the energetics of the DNA through the parents as well. So let's say that there's my understanding of this, limited understanding, is that karma, it can be both um, at the level of the DNA through the genetics of transfer, and it all can be spiritually, energetically transferred through the soul. So in other words, when your soul agreement, you made certain agreements of why you incarnated, and certain people agreed to do certain things in this lifetime to help you accomplish your soul growth. But also at the soul level, you may have said, oh, that's a soul problem that this lineage has. I put up my hand, I'm going to incarnate and clean that up. And then at a certain point in your life, you come to this understanding of being able to clear it up, not only for yourself, but for your lineage. So that's my understanding. So that's why I say there's 3 levels. So there's 3 different types of karma in the matriarchal and patriarchal lineage. One would be your family of origin, who you agreed to, what family you agreed, lineage you agreed to to be born into, which is the DNA and the genetics, right?
Mhm.
And then there's the soul family, which is bigger than that. It's like in your soul family, multiple beings have incarnated in multiple dimensions for multiple reasons for the good of the whole of that soul family. So, and we're multidimensional beings, so we may be having multiple lives, dealing with multiple aspects of our personal karma, both for ourselves and on behalf of our soul family. And then, of course, then there's, so that's your family of origin and your soul family. But I believe we're a lot of us, almost all of us, and I don't know what percentage are from star nations, right?
Mhm.
So there's all that agenda too, which would be really the higher consciousness evolution on planet. So the different star nations are here for different reasons. And I'm talking about the positive ones that are here to raise the consciousness of Earth, right? So as part of the planetary healing that we're undergoing. So some of us that come from certain stars, nations, to do the work as planetary change agents. And if you're an empath, it's highly likely, or I must almost say guaranteed, that you are from a different dimensional reality through maybe multiple lifetimes to be here at this unique time to do what you need to do. And this, our job is to help you remember and help you wake up, smell the coffee, get your karma cleared up, so that we can then help on the larger karma of the planet, which is really like Kory said. It's really like if we wake up, then those in our lineage and those in the same vibrational frequency that are going through the same wake up, all wake up at the same time. In other words, we affect the collective whole. And my understanding is when we do this work and clear up our karma, we're clearing 145,000 souls in our lineage, past, present, and future. That's a lot. So it's worth every bit of time that you do this. And here we are with 2, actually, it sounds like a whole week of this potential of doing some deeper work. So I suggest you get out the shovels, everybody, and shovel through the karmic shit. Know that it's good compost. It allows new things to be grown. Don't get attached to it, but it is time to clean it up. And if you need some help, we have this guy named Harold McCoy, and he has a huge fire hose, and he knows how to clean up this sort of stuff, right?
He
Never
does.
mind a vacuum cleaner, he'll use like a major hose on a hydrant and just clean up our camera too. So
Now I'm gonna explain to our listeners too, is that you and I will use past lives only if it means to help you move from something in this life that's stopping you from moving on. So people will call me and be like, "Will you do my past lives?" And I'm like, the only time I'm ever privy to that info for myself anyway, and I don't know about you, Tyson, is when it's stopping people from moving forward.
yeah, I personally don't care whether you were King Solomon or the second cousin to Jesus Christ or whatever. I mean, this is not the time to get hero spirit badges, right?
Yeah,
This is not. This
egotistical,
is
right?
I'm not interested in that. But I am interested if you have some karmic knots that need to be undone, so that you can bring the energy through of who you be in a clear channel. That's what I'm interested in helping you do. And I'm not really attached to the story about why you got into trouble. I'm more interested in helping you learn how to get out of trouble. So, and if we are all electrical, magnetic, energetic beings, and really it's just a matter of frequency. So my understanding from working in the Tao is, if you're at this vibrational frequency, then any vibrational frequency of karmic creditors, or those that feel that you did something wrong to them, that want to have access to you to collect karma, if they're here and you're here, they can't touch you. In other words, they can't collect, right? Because your energy, the strongest energy always is the dominant energy.
Yeah.
But if you let yourself come down for whatever reasons, through diet or whatever, or thought or, impure actions, then as soon as it hits this level, they can have then the karmic creditors have access to you. This is why the deep clearing protocol is not a one-time job, right? This is something you want to keep doing, right? To keep you
Yeah.
elevating your spiritual energy so that the karma that other beings feel that they need to collect from you doesn't impinge on your life. So what does a karmic creditor mean? Well, it means that at some time, at some lifetime, you may have stolen something, taken something, said something, killed something, and you may or may not have done it, right? But if somebody thought that you did it or judged you that they did it, then that's a karmic creditor. And the irony of this is the karmic creditor doesn't understand that the only way that they can be released from their own karma is through forgiveness. So they're still out for a eye for an eye and an ounce of blood and revenge and all the rest, which push them on the cycle of life and death, right? On the karmic wheel of repeating over and over because they're looking to resolve this through an eye for an eye. You did this to me, I'm going to do this to you. So at some level, we have to have forgiveness for the karmic creditor because they haven't understood that letting go, of this, of their forgiveness of whatever atrocities were committed, that frees them from this bondage of reincarnation from lifetime to lifetime and having to repeat this in their lifetime and in my lifetime. So forgiveness is really the main aspect of this.
Isn't it interesting how quickly we forgive too? At least in this life, I just like by the next day I'm just like, what? It's all good. Are you
Yeah,
this
it's not so
quiet?
good in the midst of it all. It can be pretty traumatic in the midst of it all, but
Sure.
yeah, the quicker you can honestly, truly forgive, the most
Mhm.
grossest thing is really important. And even, working with, the Ted Bundys of the world
Yes.
and releasing those energies so it doesn't need to get played out again. Whereas if I'm, I always wonder, when people are interviewed on TV about, a certain person named George who's just been, anyway, they interview the family, and the family wants justice. They want that
Yeah.
person to be locked up or condemned or hung or gone or quartered or anything. That is just creating the karmic wheel to spin one more time, right? And means that trauma will be locked into that family until the forgiveness happens. So teaching people about forgiveness, even in the worst of atrocities, is very, very difficult. And it goes on. So a child that's in a war zone now, that's experiencing trauma, this will carry on for 5 to 6 to 7 generations. Then the feeling of wanting to have revenge. In other words, if forgiveness isn't part of the teachings of that tradition, culture, or religion, then
Mhm.
that karma will then come through as revenge and wanting to seek and feeling morally justified that one has to do that, and even calling on God, that God would support the righteous because the righteous needs to have revenge, right? And now we're back into a whole cycle of religious justification for war and damnation, and now we have more and more karma that's accumulated on the planet that we need to deal with.
Mhm.
So, is there anybody out there in our wonderful listeners that would like to phone in and have us work on some karma that you may have coming up in your life, or have some thoughts about karma, or would like to have a clearing, or like to have a short reading? Then you can phone in toll free in North America, 1-866-369-7464. And
Is your
just to
phone
let you
on?
know, sorry, go ahead.
Is your phone on, hon? We always have to
Yeah,
check.
it is. I just went ding ding. So
Did
it
it?
must be on. So
Good.
yeah, so we're also going to go back in the Dowsing Energy Healing Group. We used to have a theme for every day of the week. So we're going to start these themes up again. There'll be a graphic that will be put in. So according to the old themes, this was Building Clearing Monday. So that theme is, what building, what address do you want to have cleared? So if you want to phone in, give us a phone call and we'll do some clearing for buildings. And of course, when that is set up in the Dowsing Energy Healing, you just put the address in there and we'll help you clear this up on the show. But even more important, we'd love for you to come on and we teach you how to clear your own house, right? And then we want you then to clear your own house and your own city block, your neighborhood, you know, your state, your country, your nation, and the planet. So that's our goal, is to teach you how to do this. But we certainly don't mind starting off by doing it for you and then turning around and saying, hey, we just did it. Now you know how to do it. And let's go through this a couple of times with you so you feel comfortable about doing it for yourself. So I would love just to, in the comments, that you just say, well, I want to clear this, this, and this. You actually put in the wording of what you think it would be to clear that place. And then we can come in and help you get the wording spot on or as strong as possible so you can continue to clear wherever you go, whether it be a graveyard, a building, a hospital, a senior citizen's home, or whatever. Look, with COVID-19, we've got so much clearing to do about buildings and land and houses, right? So let's get to work.
How about if we talk to our listeners about forgiveness, like what it means when you forgive yourself, that it heals yourself, and it also frees the other person from what? Because what I hear from a lot of people all the time is, well, I don't want to forgive them because I don't want to let them off the hook. Right?
Yeah, but being on the hook or off the hook has got nothing to do with you. I mean, with a person who feels morally justified that they want retribution.
Here we got, Michael just sent us something here. Hold on one second. He said 410 through 224th Street, Langley, BC, held in bondage and lack for 17 years.
Yeah, so, you know, so let's just tune into that address. Just read it out one more time, please, Laura.
410-224th Street, Langley, BC.
All right, so the whole problem really is, it's bigger than that address. I mean, there's a whole energetics around Langley, BC. So let me just see if I'm correct. So, I mean, I don't normally talk about this. So yeah, so Langley itself as a actual place of where Langley is situated has a negative impact of negative 50%. Why? Because Langley shouldn't have been built where Langley is, right?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
One of those
So
things.
that whole area is floodplain. It's all part of what would be, if we were to remove all the settlements of Langley and we are allowed the Fraser River to do what the Fraser River needed to do, that would all be wetlands and marshlands, right? It would all be with the ebb and flow of the river. It would be the spawning ground. It would be a whatever. But when man, without tuning into Mother Nature, insists on building dikes and creating land out of what was there before, and superposes its own blueprint over it, then you're going to have a problem. Does that mean that it can't be rectified? Of course it can be rectified. And how would you do that? You'd have to have gratitude for and talk to the original Devic energies of that landscape, explain why you're doing that, and also ask for retribution, ask for forgiveness, like we just said. So without forgiveness and understanding this energy, then anybody who has any propensity, right, or any grief or any karmic negativity that can't be worked out is going to be attracted to that area. So there's going to be a lot of matching of energies, they're wanting to move into that area and attempt to try and resolve it. So, but that particular address has really got blocked up energy that's been happening. I would say it's also multi-generational. So it goes all the way back to whoever created that particular property on a larger scale that actually was involved in rearranging the landscape. So there's the original lineage of who did this work, and then there's the attraction of the families that are attracted to that negative entropic area because it matches their energy. So
Right. And where I grew up in the Dells, there's a lake there called Lake Delton, and it in a few years ago broke free, and it broke through a highway A, and went into the Wisconsin River. And I had been there for a class reunion like a year before, and the lake was telling me how angry it was because they had started building up. First of all, they dammed up a spring to create Lake Delton, which was fine when all of the properties were far enough from the shoreline to where the properties was. There was a lot of
yeah,
grass and trees and whatnot, right? So
yeah,
the lake was okay. But then because the Wisconsin Dells is such a tourist place, they started building hotels and things super close to the edge, not giving it enough distance. And so it broke free, and it completely emptied the lake. There was nothing
wow,
there. So and when when I was talking to the lake about it afterwards, because it had told me like a year or two earlier, my sister was with me and she'll attest to this. I was like, the lake is very, very sad. So I put a pyramid in the middle of it to help it, the energy to
yeah,
move,
yeah, yeah, to create a vortex to bring about purification for it. Yeah.
which is so what happened? I don't know. It went into
Oh,
the
that's
river,
what it does.
right? And so now it's like back up again and it's dammed back up. And um the energy of it all the way around there is just like poof, poof. And they wonder why the Dells isn't doing well. Like sense. It's just everything's just a struggle. It's a struggle
Right,
to get people to work there. It's a struggle to bring people in. It's always a struggle.
right. Well, there
So
you are. So you understand this, and this is really what you would learn in the boots on the ground geomancy course, is how to work with earth energies. And
mhm,
this is geopathic stress that we're talking about, this lack in the land, either because environmentally changing the natural flow of the energy so the energy can drain. So think of a wetlands. It's really the wetlands is where the fishes spawn and where life is created, and
mhm,
it's the womb of the water, the interface between water, salt water and fresh water, and it's an ecotone of high diversity. And when you dam that up,
mhm,
nature doesn't get to re-nourish herself, and it's going to be how there's going to be a reaction. So getting
mhm,
that cleaned up and having forgiveness about it, or even doing reclamation, whereas every acre that you take out of the floodplain, you restore it somewhere else, right? Is
right.
one way to begin to balance it out. But if you think about how big an area that we're talking about almost, if we could just wave a magic wand and take it back where it was, there would be a whole bunch of cities or communities that would no longer exist, right?
Mhm. Well, and
Now,
if we do it for reasons beyond greed, you know,
yeah, exactly. So now if you can do it, yeah, exactly.
right. And that's what the whole Lake Dalton thing was about. Why they're putting the hotels up so close and all of these homes and stuff so close to the water, and not giving it nature, not giving it that movement,
That
because
breathing ability.
there's a
Yeah,
movement, right? There's a movement. You don't have to like have the lake turn in, run into the river, but you do have to have movement on, the outside where, ducks can come in and out and
yeah,
deer can come down. That's the energetic movement we're talking about. And when you don't have that, it messes everything up. And you're right, the devic energies around the water and around the sky, around all of it becomes stagnant and starts working against you rather than for you. That's why the American
absolutely.
Indians were like, why are you doing this to yourself? You're basically screwing yourself.
Yeah, well, that's what we're doing on the whole planet. So yeah, learning how to do this. And so how would you do it? Well, I would suggest that you imagine like Langley and having a conversation with it,
Mhm.
it would go something like this. You would need to tune into the Devic overarching angelic kingdom and apologize to all the Devic energies on behalf of humanity, on behalf of the fact that there was, that there was an ignorance that you are now aware of that others weren't aware of, and that with through the apology and forgiveness and gratitude for what you have received as a benefit. And let me tell you, I mean, Langley produces incredible food, and so the benefits for humanity can be quite significant. So there would, if you were able to exchange the fact of the greed with gratitude, right, and then be able to honor the natural forces that were disrupted and reestablish them elsewhere, then that would help bring about retribution and restoration. And then the whole energy that was literally like a plug in a bathtub, it would be like pulling the plug energetically, and then the whole area could start to cleanse itself, right?
Yeah.
And then the people that had that entropic nature of not feeling good about themselves or on drugs or addictions and everything wouldn't be attracted to the area, because the energy would be so high that you would be having more light being type people attracted to the area, because the energy would attract that harmonic accord with nature. That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah. So first important thing is, it's not just where the house is, but it's who created the house there and why did they create it? Was it for greed or for what? And what was the subdivision? What did they do to the landscape? Did they ask permission before they brought in the bulldozers and flooded, and leveled everything? Did they apologize? Did they move the energetics? Like, did they actually do the moving of the elementals? And I know this sounds maybe a bit woo-woo, but Darlene right now is in a beautiful forest down on the coast. And I said, well, if there's elementals or that would like to come in here, back here and be with you in the garden, then choose a rock and ask them if they'd like to come with you. So this is an elemental carrier, right? Or transporter. And we can do this. So, before you disrupt a landscape, you can put the elementals on notice, you can put them in a safe place, you can take them to places where they can reestablish themselves, right? So for example, if you have an elemental that has a connection to the stream, it has like an energy connection to that edge of the stream. And if you then put rock on the edge of that stream, then you're cutting and severing that lifeline from that elemental. Now that elemental can't connect to the stream. But if you consciously know that that's what you're doing, and you let the elemental know that this is what you're doing, then you can reconnect the elemental back to the stream. Like, this is called eco-spiritual stewardship. This is understanding that we as humans are responsible for all of the interconnection of the web of life. And it's our responsibility that if we disrupt it, to repair it.
Right.
So,
Exactly. So Oz would like to request a clearing
all right.
and healing for her 10-year-old son who is depressed lately. Well, you can understand why.
Yeah, if
So,
I was a 10-year-old on this planet right now, and I was a bit empathic like this kid is, I'd wonder what blankety blank is going on. Yeah, it's not an easy time. So let's just do a clearing around that.
okay.
So hi, Tyson Bannigan, and I'm spinning my pendulum counterclockwise in my I am presence with this divine creator and divine mother and the source of all that is. Clear any and all energy around everybody on this call or listening to this call that no longer serves them, and helps them in this period of change and transformation to clean up their karma, right? To deal with their karmic creditors and to resolve any outstanding issues that may come from core factors, toxic emotion, unresolved conflict, misinterpretations, what they think is right or wrong, or thought forms that they may have inherited through their patriarchal lineages, soul family, star family, and family of origin, and bring everything through to the truth of what it be, right? So all falsehoods all overlays of for whatever reason that is put on us as this is truth or this is right or this is wrong, that they all be dissolved. So let's ask that all the matrix that has to do with bondage be dissolved in the blink of an eye for everybody on this call, listening to this call now and in the future, so that the truth can be revealed, right? So the karma that can be dissolved and the truth can be revealed. And I declare it so be it in my holy name. Thank you. So yeah, this is our wake up time. This is our wake up call, right? It's like we have these dark shades on, karmic shades that we've inherited, say one, sort of like when you go to the optometrist and the old optometrist and they have these things that they click in front of you, say, well, can you see better? You're not going to see. So, one of the dark ones would be, oh, well, you're on prison planet. Okay, click. So how can you see now? And another one would be, oh, here's your inheritance from your family of origin. How can you see now? Okay, click that one on. And, and then there would be another one for, how you've misinterpreted things that were told to you, or listened to somebody who was in power who told you weren't good enough. So we'll click that one on there, and then we'll have your culture. We'll have another one. Okay, your culture norms, or you have to do it this way. And then we'll put your religious one on here, that this is the way of salvation. So we'll click that one. So now we are so clouded, right, that we can't see the truth of who we be, right? Because we believe that all this in front of our eyes that we can't see so clearly is the truth of who we are. So what if we could just let that all go, bypass our human mind consciousness that wants to judge, that wants to make an interpretation of what is, do the deep clearing, clear away all of these lenses, these false interpretations, so that we are now in the truth of who we be, and we're one with source. I mean, this is 2020 vision, right? The year 2020. This is the time of clear vision. This is the time where all of the untruths become truths. They're revealed for what they are. So
yesterday I had a question. So if is illusion, all of the illusion that we see or that we experience on the planet, is the illusion truth, or is right, is illusion, but it's the illusion in which we're in. So how do you get past the illusion of everything that is created on the planet? Like how do you bypass the illusion to get to the truth?
Well, when you do the deep clearing protocol, you're letting go all multiple 64 layers of illusion, 64 lenses in front of your eyes, in front of your ears, in front of your, your five senses that get dumbed down. And I've been told when we do the deep clearing protocol and we do the inner work, because it's all inner work, then I've been told that I'll just wake up one morning and the world will look completely different. And sometimes I get this sort of feeling like I can see through the matrix, right? And it's sort of like the smoke and mirrors starts to dissipate, and there's the clarity, and you say, oh, that's the world that it is. And if you have, I'm getting shivers right now, if you have a oneness experience, that flash of eureka or enlightenment or that aha, you see the world as one. You don't see it as fragmented. You get those lenses cleared for maybe a microsecond, or maybe if you're lucky an hour or whatever. And I'm not talking about doing psychotropics. I mean, if you want to do it that way, fine, but it's like sort of blasting into it and you're going to get blasted right back out. So it's not really a gentle way of doing it, right? But, in some cases that is necessary, like with, to wake people up to see that there's something greater than themselves, to understand what it is to be connected to the oneness of what is. So sometimes ayahuasca can kick you out of your story and your addiction and give you that oneness experience. Sometimes it scares the bejesus out of you because you have to meet your fears. And I don't recommend it. If you're going to do it with somebody like a shaman who knows the right songs and can be your guide. But the point is, once you have that glimmer of oneness and know that you're one with everything, and you feel it in your body, you will always look for that. You will spend the rest of your life on the journey back to enlightenment. You will be looking for the royal road to enlightenment. You cannot help yourself, right? And so I really encourage you, whatever it takes to get out of your own way, whether it's a deep clearing protocol as a stepping stone, once you have one glimmer of that aha, one glimmer of enlightenment, one glimmer of satori, or whatever you want to call it, right? I don't care whether it's from a Zen cushion, through meditation. If it has to be through psychotropics, great. If it has to do ayahuasca, fine. But the thing is, ultimately, you have to do it in your own body through the very things that we're talking about. It's through forgiveness of yourself, a letting go of your karma, accepting yourself, unconditional love. You know, you're not perfect. You're not complete whole sound. You're still on planet Earth. You haven't graduated. You're in the process of becoming enlightened. But by forgiving yourself, you're letting go of all these clouds that we talked about, all these lenses. So that's a great question, Laura.
How many of your clients have stopped doing the deep cleaning protocol for a couple days? They start plummeting, and because they're not done, right? They haven't done their 21 days, but they're like, I'm good. I don't need to take any more of the antibiotic.
Yeah, right. Or somebody said, well, I got it all under control. All I have to do is just look at it and it's done. And I say, well, okay, great. You know, you're on cruise control, and that cruise control will take you until there's no more gas in your tank, right?
Yeah.
And then the cruise control doesn't work anymore. So maybe you
but then they come back to it and they're like, okay, all right, I don't know why this works, but it does. And I'm like, I know, but they all do, every single one of them. I'm like, so when you stop doing it for a couple days, call me, okay? And then we'll talk you through how to get back on it again. And they're like, what? And they all do it. I'm like, come on.
We have to have patience with each other. When we think we're done, we're not done. I mean, the mere fact that you're still here on planet Earth means you're not done, right? You're not done.
Without this, I don't think I'd be here.
Exactly. Well, yeah. We have to let go, and the biggest thing to let go is our fear of getting it wrong, or our fear that our culture has that it could be COVID-19 or the next pandemic or the next whatever that's going to eat you alive, or the war on drugs or the war on this or terrorism or God knows what all that we're being subjected to. If we can keep you in fear, you'll never remember who you are. So
and that's one thing that we've noticed with our clients that do the deep cleaning protocol. None of them are in fear. They all went through the pandemic with like, I don't know why everyone's freaking out. Well, everyone else around them is freaking out, even their family members. I've had clients that have had quite a few discussions with family members who are stuck in that fear base, and they're just like, well, that's where you're at, but I'm not there, with clear composure on the whole thing. And you don't understand it until you do this. Are we upgrading the DCP? Because it does need it. We've had some.
I am. I've just got somebody out of the blue. It was sort of really amazing. You know, I said, oh, here's addictive cycle. Tyhson says, oh, you got to get up an hour early and write your book, because if you don't take the hour before everything else, you won't have time to budget the time to write your book and blah, blah, blah. So this is the thing I'm running in my monkey mind, right? So I get up at 5 o'clock to write my book, right? And I open up my email, and somebody sent me the deep clearing protocol, and it's all edited.
Yeah, that was my client.
And it was brilliantly done. Unfortunately, it was an old version of it, but it was brilliant, right? And I sort of embarrassed to go back to them and say, hey, could you edit the latest one? But yeah, it was amazing.
Because they said that, what is the date on the upgrade of the DCP? I have two from last year. Well, it's November of 19, right? Was the last update.
I think you've got it in front of you, but we are in the midst of the edit of another one, and it will be in my new book. Right, what does that say on there?
November 22nd.
Yeah, that's the latest version. But I am in the midst of another upgrade, and it has more to do with grammar and clarification.
So then this one isn't actually on the website then, because that person got it from the website.
If they paid their money for the Deep Clearing Chronicle, that's the one they get. And if they paid their money and they didn't get that one, then they need to get hold of me, because that's the latest version. Okay.
All right.
Does that make sense?
All right.
There may be an old version in one of the courses, because that means all the courses have to be upgraded with the latest one. But if you paid for it in the Wellness Academy, if you paid for the deep clearing protocol, what is it, Laura? $25? Why can't you remember?
Yep.
Then you have the latest version. Okay.
Yep.
If you paid for a course that has a deep clearing protocol and it doesn't say, what does it say on that one? Doesn't have the
No, revised copyright November 22nd, 2019.
Then you need to get a hold of me and I'll give you the latest version, right?
Yeah.
If you paid for it once, you don't have to pay for it again. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, if you want to pay me for it again, I appreciate it, right? I mean, I would appreciate it because it helps pay for the upgrade, right? It's not, this is not a static document. This is, and also we have some volunteers to translate. I have somebody who wants me to work with them and can't afford it, and said I would, could he translate it in German? I said, absolutely, yes.
And we have it in.
Please do the first page, because I have German friends and I want to know whether the translation is accurate. And if I get it approved that it's accurate, then the deal is, yes, of course, I will do coaching for you in exchange for you translating the deep clearing protocol into another language.
But unfortunately, we were at the top of the hour, so we're going to have to say goodbye for another day.
All right, so we're back tomorrow, and tomorrow's conversation is reincarnation, and the personal clearing tomorrow is the theme. So yeah, so phone in and have a personal clearing. All right, that's it. We're at the top of the hour. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
For quality online wellness products, courses, and services, visit our sponsors, thewellnessstore.ca and the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy located at thewellnessacademy.ca. To stay in touch, visit us at thewellnessshow.ca. And until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.